In the vast expanse of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where countless worlds teeter on the brink of annihilation, an insidious force lurks beyond the veil of reality. This malevolent power, known simply as Chaos, threatens to engulf the galaxy in a tide of madness and corruption. At the heart of this cosmic horror stand four supreme entities, the Chaos Gods. These beings of unfathomable power dwell within the warp, a nightmarish dimension of pure psychic energy that underpins the material universe. Each Chaos God embodies the darkest aspects of sentient life, feeding on the emotions and desires of mortal beings across time and space. Their influence seeps into reality, twisting minds, warping flesh, and reshaping entire worlds to suit their unfathomable whims. Khorne, the Blood God, reigns atop a mountain of skulls in a realm of endless carnage. His bellowing war cry echoes across dimensions, driving his followers into frenzied bloodlust. Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows, only that it does so in ever-increasing volumes. His warriors, clad in brass armor stained with gore, charge headlong into battle, their only purpose to kill and maim in their god's name. Khorne's symbol, a stylized skull resting in a pool of blood, adorns banners and flesh alike, a grim reminder of the fate that awaits all who stand in the path of his berserker hordes. Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways, observes the galaxy through a kaleidoscope of possibility. This master of sorcery and manipulation weaves plots so intricate they span millennia, each strand carefully placed to alter the very fabric of destiny. Tzeentch's followers seek knowledge and power, willingly sacrificing their sanity to glimpse the secrets of the universe. In the crystal labyrinth of Tzeentch's realm, reality shifts with every step, and truths become lies even as they are uttered. The Lord of Change revels in the endless cycle of hope and despair, each grand scheme birthing 1,000 more in its wake. Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, tends to his garden of pestilence with grandfatherly affection. This bloated god of disease and entropy offers a twisted form of salvation through acceptance of inevitable rot. His plague-ridden followers spread contagion across the stars, each new epidemic a love letter to their festering patron. In Nurgle's realm, every malady known and unknown flourishes, tended by Nurglings and great unclean ones alike. The Plague Father's symbol, a trio of circles representing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, marks the bodies of his devoted children, their flesh a canvas for his putrescent artistry. Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, reclines upon a throne of shattered souls in a palace of infinite sensations. Born from the depths of excess, Slaanesh tempts mortals with promises of ecstasy and perfection. The Dark Prince's followers pursue every experience to its most extreme conclusion, their bodies and minds warped by unnatural stimuli. In the realm of chaos, Slaanesh's domain is a place of breathtaking beauty and unspeakable horror, where pain and pleasure intertwine until they become indistinguishable. The symbol of Slaanesh, a stylized tongue or blade, marks those who have tasted the forbidden fruits of excess and crave evermore. These four malevolent entities form the Dark Pantheon of chaos, their eternal struggles shaping the very fabric of reality. Yet their power is not absolute, for the Chaos Gods are as much prisoners of their own nature as they are masters of it. Khorne's strength wanes in times of peace, while Tzeentch's schemes often undermine his own grand designs. Nurgle's cycles of decay and rebirth balance each other out, and Slaanesh's pursuit of extremes leads to diminishing returns. In the material realm, the influence of the Chaos Gods manifests in myriad ways. Cults spring up on countless worlds, their members seeking power or salvation in the arms of the ruinous powers. Whole planets fall to demonic incursions, reality itself buckling under the weight of warp energy pouring through rifts in space-time. Great champions rise, blessed or cursed with mutations and unholy gifts, to lead armies of the damned against the forces of order. The Imperium of Man stands as humanity's bulwark against this tide of madness. Its vast armies and unshakable faith form a thin line between civilization and utter annihilation. Space Marines, genetically engineered super soldiers, clash with demonic legions on 1,000 battlefields. Inquisitors root out heresy and corruption, condemning entire populations to death rather than risk chaos spreading further. Yet even the Imperium's zealous efforts may not be enough to stem the relentless assault of the ruinous powers. For every cult destroyed, a dozen more spring up in its place. For every demon banished, 100 more claw their way into reality. The struggle against chaos is eternal, a war fought not just with bolter and blade, but with iron will and unshakable conviction. As we delve deeper into the nature of these malevolent gods, we'll uncover the origins of their dark dominion, explore the cults and war bands that serve them, and witness the catastrophic impact they've had on the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Prepare to peer into the abyss of chaos itself, where sanity unravels and the very laws of physics bend to the whims of these cosmic nightmares. For in the grim darkness of the far future, the greatest threat to humanity's survival may not come from without, but from the darkness that lurks within every mortal soul. To grasp the true significance of the Chaos Gods in Warhammer 40,000, one must understand the delicate balance of power that defines this grim, dark future. These malevolent entities don't merely exist as distant threats or abstract concepts. Their influence permeates every aspect of galactic society, shaping the destiny of countless worlds and civilizations. At the heart of this cosmic struggle lies the Imperium of Man, a vast, oppressive regime spanning millions of planets. Beset on all sides by alien threats and internal strife, humanity clings to survival through brutal authoritarianism and fanatical devotion to the God Emperor. Yet, the Imperium's greatest enemy lurks not among the stars, but within the hearts and minds of its own citizens. Chaos represents more than just a physical threat. It embodies the potential for corruption inherent in every sentient being. The whispers of the Dark Gods echo through the dreams of billions, promising power, knowledge, and escape from the crushing weight of imperial rule. This insidious influence turns loyal subjects into heretics, transforming entire worlds into nightmarish hellscapes almost overnight. The constant pressure exerted by chaos forces the Imperium into a state of perpetual paranoia and aggression. Inquisitors scour populated worlds for signs of heresy, while the Sisters of Battle purge the unclean with holy fire. Even the mighty Space Marines, superhuman warriors designed to be humanity's ultimate defenders, are not immune to the lure of chaos. The Horus Heresy, a cataclysmic civil war sparked by the corruption of the Emperor's favorite son, serves as a grim reminder of chaos's power to turn even the most loyal servants against their masters. Beyond the borders of imperial space, other factions wage their own wars against the Dark God's influence. The Eldar, an ancient race of psychically gifted aliens, created Slaanesh through their own excesses, leading to the near extinction of their species. Now, they fight desperately to avoid the attention of the Chaos God they inadvertently birthed, their every action calculated to avert further catastrophe. The Necrons, soulless machine beings who once made a pact with godlike entities to escape the grasp of chaos, slumber in ancient tomb worlds. Their awakening heralds a new war against the forces of the Warp, as they seek to impose their own brand of soulless order on the galaxy. Even the Orcs, a race of brutal, warmongering creatures, play a role in the cosmic balance. Their constant battles and simple-minded devotion to violence feed Khorne's bloodlust, yet their resistance to complex emotions makes them surprisingly resilient against chaos corruption. The Tau Empire, a young and rapidly expanding civilization, remains largely ignorant of the true nature of chaos. This naivety presents both a vulnerability and an opportunity in the greater galactic conflict. As they spread across the stars, the Tau unwittingly open new fronts in the eternal war against the ruinous powers. Amid this tapestry of conflict and corruption, the Chaos Gods act as cosmic puppet masters, their competing agendas driving the ebb and flow of galactic events. Sench's scheming might spark a planetary rebellion, while Nurgle's plagues decimate entire sectors. Khorne's followers plunge stable regions into bloody warfare, and Slaaneş's cults seduce planetary governors into depraved acts that leave worlds vulnerable to invasion. The machinations of the Dark Gods extend beyond mere conquest. They seek to reshape reality itself, expanding the influence of the warp into real space. Massive warp storms cut off vast swaths of the galaxy, turning them into hellish domains where demons roam freely. These chaos-touched regions serve as staging grounds for further incursions, each Black Crusade pushing the boundaries of the Dark God's influence ever closer to the heart of the Imperium. In this context, the Chaos Gods represent an existential threat not just to individual factions, but to the very fabric of the material universe. Their victory would mean the collapse of reality as it's known, plunging the galaxy into an eternity of madness and suffering. This apocalyptic potential elevates every conflict, every heresy, and every act of corruption into a battle for the very soul of existence. Understanding the Chaos Gods and their role in Warhammer 40,000 provides crucial insight into the motivations and actions of every major faction. The constant struggle against their influence drives technological advancements, shapes cultural evolution, and determines military strategies across the galaxy. From the highest echelons of imperial power to the lowliest underhive gangs, the shadow of chaos looms large, a malevolent force that cannot be ignored or escaped. As we delve deeper into the nature and history of each Chaos God, remember that their impact extends far beyond the obvious manifestations of demon armies and corrupted champions. The true power of the Dark Gods lies in their ability to turn hope into despair, loyalty into betrayal, and order into anarchy. In the grim darkness of the far future, the greatest battles are fought not just on blood-soaked battlefields, but in the hearts and minds of every sentient being in the galaxy. Long before the Emperor of Mankind united Terra, before the Eldar Empire fell, and even before the Old Ones seeded life across the galaxy, the warp existed as a realm of raw psychic energy. This dimension, parallel to real space, reflected the emotions and thoughts of sentient beings. Initially calm and benign, the warp gradually transformed as life evolved and expanded throughout the galaxy. Prehistoric shamans first tapped into this realm, drawing upon its energies to shape reality. Their primitive rituals and beliefs began to coalesce within the warp, forming the earliest proto-entities. These nascent thought forms grew in power and complexity as civilizations advanced, feeding on the collective psychic energy of entire species. The War in Heaven, a cataclysmic conflict between the Old Ones and the Necrontire, marked a turning point in the warp's evolution. Desperate to combat the soulless Necrons, the Old Ones created psychically attuned races to serve as warriors. This decision, while tactically sound, had far-reaching consequences for the fabric of reality. As billions of psychically active beings engaged in galaxy-spanning warfare, their fear, anger, and suffering poured into the warp. The realm churned with turbulent energies, giving birth to the first true Chaos Gods. Khorne, embodiment of rage and bloodshed, emerged from the endless slaughter. Tzeentch coalesced from the desperate scheming and hope for change. Nurgle spawned from the despair and resilience of those facing death and disease. The fall of the Old Ones left a power vacuum in the galaxy. Various races vied for dominance, chief among them the Eldar. Their advanced psychic abilities and deep connection to the warp allowed them to build a vast, galaxy-spanning empire. For millions of years, the Eldar reigned supreme, their civilization reaching heights of technological and cultural achievement unmatched before or since. However, the Eldar's success contained the seeds of their own destruction. As their power grew, so did their arrogance and decadence. Entire worlds devoted themselves to the pursuit of ever greater extremes of sensation and experience. This hedonistic spiral reached its climax in a psychic cataclysm that tore a hole in the fabric of reality itself. From this catastrophic event, Slaanesh, the youngest of the Chaos Gods, was born. The Prince of Pleasure's violent birth destroyed the core of the Eldar Empire, created the Eye of Terror, and forever changed the balance of power in both the material universe and the warp. The ascension of the Chaos Gods did not go unchallenged. Other warp entities, some benevolent, others simply opposed to the dominion of the Dark Gods, fought to maintain their own realms and influence. These conflicts shaped the ever-shifting landscape of the Imperium, creating the hell-like domains associated with each Chaos God. As the power of chaos grew, so did its ability to influence the material world. The first human psykers emerged during the Dark Age of technology, opening new conduits for the Chaos Gods to exert their will upon real space. Demonic incursions and possessions became more frequent, sowing the seeds of fear and superstition that would later fuel the Emperor's anti-psyker policies. The Age of Strife, marked by devastating warp storms that isolated human colonies across the galaxy, further strengthened the Chaos Gods. Cut off from Terra and beset by aliens and mutants, many human worlds turned to the ruinous powers for salvation. Cults dedicated to the Dark Gods spread like wildfire, each offering a twisted form of hope in a galaxy gone mad. It was into this tumultuous era that the Emperor of Mankind emerged. Recognizing the existential threat posed by chaos, he launched the Great Crusade to reunite humanity under a secular, rationalist banner. The Emperor's immense psychic power and technological mastery posed the first serious challenge to the dominion of chaos in millennia. For a brief moment, it seemed that humanity might break free from the influence of the Dark Gods. The Emperor's Primarch project aimed to create generals capable of leading mankind to a glorious future. However, the Chaos Gods, unwilling to relinquish their hold on the galaxy, intervened. They scattered the infant Primarchs across the stars, sowing the seeds of division that would ultimately lead to the Horus Heresy. This pivotal event, the corruption of Horus and half of the Space Marine legions, demonstrated the insidious nature of chaos. Even the mightiest warriors and most loyal sons could fall prey to the temptations offered by the Dark Gods. The resulting civil war nearly destroyed the Imperium and left the Emperor a shattered husk interred upon the Golden Throne. In the aftermath of the heresy, the Chaos Gods' influence waxed and waned. The formation of the Great Rift, a galaxy-spanning tear in reality, marked their resurgence. This cataclysmic event ushered in a new age of darkness and opportunity for the forces of chaos. Throughout their long history, the Chaos Gods have remained true to their fundamental natures. Khorne's appetite for blood and skulls has never diminished. Tzeentch continues to weave plots within plots, each more Byzantine than the last. Nurgle's garden of pestilence grows ever more fecund, while Slaanesh's hunger for new sensations remains insatiable. Understanding this background is crucial to grasping the true nature of the threat posed by the Chaos Gods. They are not simply external enemies to be defeated, but manifestations of the darkest aspects of sentient life itself. As long as mortals rage, scheme, despair, and desire, the Chaos Gods will endure, an eternal reflection of the galaxy's collective psyche. Throughout the tumultuous history of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, the Chaos Gods have left an indelible mark on galactic events. Their influence has shaped empires, toppled civilizations, and forever altered the course of history. Let's explore some of the most significant moments in this cosmic struggle. The birth of Slaanesh stands as perhaps the most cataclysmic event directly tied to the Chaos Gods. As the Eldar Empire reached the zenith of its decadence, their collective psychic energy coalesced in the warp, giving birth to a new deity. Slaanesh's violent awakening tore a massive hole in reality, creating the Eye of Terror and nearly annihilating the Eldar race. This event marked a turning point, dramatically increasing the Chaos God's power and their ability to influence the material realm. The corruption of the Primarchs, while a more subtle affair, had far-reaching consequences for humanity. As the Emperor's genetically engineered sons were scattered across the galaxy, the Chaos Gods seized the opportunity to influence these demigods. Lorgar's fall to chaos worship set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately lead to the greatest betrayal in human history. The conversion of other Primarchs, such as Angron, Fulgrim, and Mortarion, provided the Dark Gods with powerful champions to further their agendas. The Horus Heresy, orchestrated by the Ruinous Powers, nearly brought the Imperium of Man to its knees. Horus, the Emperor's most favored son, fell to chaos and led half of the Space Marine legions in rebellion against their creator. This galaxy-spanning civil war resulted in the near destruction of the Imperium and the grievous wounding of the Emperor. The aftermath of this conflict shaped the next 10,000 years of human history, leaving the Imperium a stagnant, paranoid shadow of its former glory. The creation of the Cicatrix Maledictum, also known as the Great Rift, marked a resurgence of chaos power in the galaxy. This vast warp storm, stretching from the Eye of Terror to the Hadex Anomaly, effectively cut the Imperium in half. Countless worlds were lost to demonic incursions, while others found themselves isolated and vulnerable. The formation of the Great Rift heralded a new age of darkness and opportunity for the forces of chaos. The Black Crusades, led by Abaddon the Despoiler, represent the most concentrated efforts of chaos to overthrow the Imperium. These massive campaigns, launched from the Eye of Terror, have laid waste to entire sectors and pushed the Imperium to the brink of collapse. The 13th Black Crusade, culminating in the fall of Cadia, proved particularly devastating, paving the way for the creation of the Great Rift. The Plague Wars, instigated by Nurgle and his champion Mortarion, ravaged the realm of Ultramar. This conflict saw the Death Guard Legion unleash horrific diseases across multiple worlds, testing the resolve of even the mighty Ultramarines. The intervention of the resurrected Primarch Roboute Guilliman turned the tide, but not before countless worlds fell to Nurgle's corrupting influence. The Psychic Awakening, a galaxy-wide surge in psychic activity, has further empowered the Chaos Gods. As more humans manifest psychic abilities, the barrier between real space and the warp grows ever thinner. This phenomenon has led to an increase in demonic possessions and incursions, providing the Ruinous Powers with new avenues to corrupt and conquer. Tzeentch's Fate Weaver, an ancient lord of change, has been instrumental in some of the most intricate plots to destabilize the Imperium. Its ability to perceive multiple potential futures has allowed Tzeentch to manipulate events on a grand scale, often setting in motion plans that take millennia to come to fruition. The Fate Weaver's machinations have toppled planetary governments, redirected crusade fleets, and sown discord among Imperial leadership. Khorne's bloodthirsters have led some of the most devastating assaults on Imperial worlds. The blood tide of Kaaksha saw an entire subsector fall to berserker fury as Khorne's followers unleashed wave after wave of demonic hordes. The sheer scale of violence fueled Khorne's power, creating a self-sustaining cycle of bloodshed that took years and countless lives to break. Slaanesh influence reached new heights during the cacophony of Extremis 6. This once peaceful world became a nightmare realm of endless sensation and depravity as Slaaneshi cults gained control. The psychic echoes of the planet's fall drove entire systems mad, creating a ripple effect of hedonism and chaos that threatened to engulf an entire sector. The War of Beasts on Vigilus showcased the ability of chaos to exploit existing conflicts for their own gain. As various factions fought for control of this strategically vital world, Chaos forces under Harkin Worldclaimer sought to turn the planet into a demon world. This protracted campaign demonstrated the insidious nature of chaos as it fed on the violence and desperation of all sides. The Chamnus Rebellion highlighted the danger posed by Genestealer cults unwittingly serving the Chaos Gods. As the cult rose up against Imperial rule, their actions weakened the planet's defenses against warp incursions. The resulting demonic invasion caught both the rebels and loyalists off guard, turning a Xenos insurrection into a full-blown chaos incursion. These key events illustrate the far-reaching impact of the Chaos Gods on the Warhammer 40,000 universe. From galaxy-shaking cataclysms to insidious corruptions, the influence of the ruinous powers has been a constant thread throughout history. As we delve deeper into the nature of each Chaos God, remember that their actions are not merely random acts of destruction, but part of a cosmic game with the fate of all existence hanging in the balance. To truly comprehend the Chaos Gods, one must delve into the very essence of their being. These entities, far from mere anthropomorphic deities, represent fundamental forces of emotion and thought given form in the Imperium. Their nature defies mortal understanding, yet their impact on the material universe is undeniable. At their core, the Chaos Gods embody specific aspects of sentient psyche. Khorne, the Blood God, channels rage, violence, and martial pride. Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways, represents hope, ambition, and the desire for change. Nurgle, the Plague Lord, embodies resilience, despair, and the cycle of decay and rebirth. Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, manifests excess, sensation, and the pursuit of perfection. These portfolios, however, are not rigid constraints. Each god's influence bleeds into the other's domains, creating a complex tapestry of overlapping powers and conflicting agendas. This fluidity allows the Chaos Gods to adapt to changing circumstances and exploit new opportunities for corruption. The Chaos Gods exist in a state of perpetual conflict known as the Great Game. This eternal struggle for supremacy within the realm of chaos drives much of their behavior in the material universe. Alliances form and dissolve with dizzying speed as the balance of power shifts. Sometimes two or more gods may temporarily unite against a common foe, only to turn on each other once the immediate threat has passed. Despite their constant infighting, the Chaos Gods share a common goal: the corruption and domination of the material universe. This objective stems from their very nature as warp entities. By expanding their influence in real space, they increase the flow of emotional energy that sustains and empowers them. Each god employs unique strategies to further their aims. Khorne's approach is direct and brutal, unleashing armies of bloodthirsty warriors to slaughter in his name. Tzeentch prefers subtle manipulation, weaving intricate plots that may take millennia to come to fruition. Nurgle spreads his influence through plagues and pestilence, offering twisted salvation to those who embrace decay. Slaanesh corrupts through temptation, luring mortals down paths of excess and depravity. The relationship between the Chaos Gods and their mortal followers is complex and often paradoxical. While the gods grant power and favors to their champions, they also view mortals as little more than pawns in their cosmic game. Devotees who fail to further their patron's agenda may find themselves discarded or transformed into mindless chaos spawn. Demonic entities serve as extensions of the Chaos God's will in both the warp and real space. Greater demons, such as bloodthirsters and lords of change, embody significant portions of their patron's power. Lesser demons and furies act as foot soldiers in the armies of chaos. These beings, fundamentally tied to the warp, require immense energy to maintain their presence in the material realm. The Chaos God's influence extends beyond their dedicated followers. They can manipulate events subtly, exploiting the innate flaws and desires of mortals to further their goals. A general's pride might be stoked to lead him into a reckless battle, feeding Khorne. A scientist's ambition could be twisted, pushing her to pursue forbidden knowledge in Tzeentch's name. Corruption of space and time itself falls within the purview of the Chaos Gods. Demon worlds, planets wholly given over to chaos, exist as nightmarish realms where reality bends to the whims of the ruinous powers. In these places, the laws of physics break down, and the boundaries between the material and immaterial blur. The psychic nature of the Chaos Gods makes them particularly dangerous to Psykers and other warp-sensitive beings. Unprotected Psykers risk possession or madness when exposed to the raw power of chaos. Even non-psychic individuals may fall prey to the insidious whispers of the Dark Gods in moments of weakness or desperation. Chaos artifacts serve as conduits for the gods' power in the material realm. These objects, often weapons or tokens of dark power, can corrupt entire worlds if left unchecked. The search for and destruction of such artifacts forms a significant part of the Inquisition's work in safeguarding the Imperium. The concept of time holds little meaning for the Chaos Gods. Existing outside of linear temporality, they can perceive and influence past, present, and future simultaneously. This ability allows them to lay plans of staggering complexity, with chains of causality stretching across millennia. Despite their godlike power, the Chaos Gods are not omnipotent. Their influence waxes and wanes with the ebb and flow of emotions in the material universe. Periods of relative peace or stability can weaken their hold, while times of war and upheaval strengthen them. This cyclical nature ensures that the threat of chaos never truly abates. The Chaos Gods' impact on the Warhammer 40,000 universe extends beyond the obvious manifestations of demon armies and corrupted champions. Their existence shapes the very fabric of reality, influencing everything from the structure of human society to the development of technology. The Imperium's oppressive regime, for instance, can be seen as a desperate attempt to starve the Chaos Gods of the emotional fuel they need to thrive. Understanding the true nature of the Chaos Gods reveals the existential threat they pose to all of existence. Their victory would not simply mean the defeat of the Imperium or the extinction of humanity. It would result in the collapse of reality itself, as the barrier between the material universe and the warp breaks down completely. In this apocalyptic scenario, all of existence would be subsumed into a nightmarish realm of pure chaos, where the ruinous powers would reign supreme for eternity. This deep analysis of the Chaos Gods illustrates why they remain the most compelling and terrifying antagonists in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Their cosmic scale, inscrutable motives, and ability to corrupt from within make them a foe that can never be truly defeated, only held at bay through constant vigilance and sacrifice. The struggle against the Chaos Gods engulfs the entire Warhammer 40,000 universe, drawing in countless factions and species. Each group approaches the threat of chaos differently, their methods shaped by history, culture, and necessity. Let's examine the major players in this cosmic conflict. Standing at the forefront of resistance against chaos, the Imperium of Man represents humanity's bulwark against the Dark Gods. Led by the God Emperor of mankind, this vast, oppressive regime employs brutal methods to safeguard human souls. The Inquisition roots out heresy with fanatical zeal, while the Adeptus Astartes serve as the Emperor's holy warriors. Despite their efforts, corruption seeps into the highest echelons of imperial power, forcing constant vigilance. Chaos Space Marines, once loyal defenders of humanity, now serve as the Dark Gods' most potent weapons. These transhuman warriors, empowered by chaos, wage an eternal war against their former brethren. Led by fell champions like Abaddon the Despoiler, they launch devastating black crusades from the Eye of Terror, seeking to topple the Imperium and usher in an age of chaos. The Adeptus Mechanicus, while nominally part of the Imperium, pursues its own agenda in the war against chaos. These tech priests view chaos as an affront to the ordered universe they revere. Their quest for knowledge and technology often leads them to dangerous discoveries, walking a fine line between innovation and tech heresy. Eldar, ancient and dying race, fight a desperate battle against chaos, particularly Slaanesh, who hungers for their souls. Craftworld Eldar employ strict emotional control and complex prophecies to avoid their doom. Their dark cousins, the Drukhari, stave off Slaanesh's grasp through acts of extreme cruelty. The mysterious Harlequins serve the Laughing God, using misdirection and subterfuge to combat chaos. Necrons, soulless android beings, stand opposed to chaos due to their nature as anathema to the warp. Their advanced technology and ability to repair themselves make them formidable opponents to demonic forces. Some Necron dynasties actively work to seal off the material universe from the warp, seeing chaos as the greatest threat to their dominion. Tyranids, an extragalactic hive mind, present an unusual challenge to chaos. Their hive mind creates a shadow in the warp, disrupting psychic communications and making warp travel hazardous. This phenomenon weakens the Chaos God's influence in areas of heavy Tyranid infestation. However, some Chaos factions see the Tyranids as a potential source of new, horrifically mutated servants. Orcs, while not directly opposed to Chaos, inadvertently act as a buffer against its spread. Their psychic field and resistance to complex emotions make them difficult for the Dark Gods to corrupt. Orc wars feed Khorne's bloodlust, but deny the other gods the emotional sustenance they crave. Some Orc wars have clashed with Chaos forces, drawn by the promise of a good fight. The Tau Empire, youngest of the major galactic powers, remains largely ignorant of Chaos's true nature. Their limited psychic presence makes them less susceptible to Chaos corruption, but also blinds them to its threats. As the Tau expand, they increasingly come into conflict with Chaos forces, forcing them to adapt their strategies and technology. Chaos demons represent the most direct manifestation of the Dark God's will. These warp entities, from lowly furies to mighty greater demons, exist solely to further their patrons' agendas. Demonic incursions pose a severe threat to real space, capable of overwhelming entire worlds if left unchecked. The lost and the damned encompass the mortal followers of Chaos. This disparate group includes everything from lowly cultists to mighty Chaos lords. Many are former Imperial citizens who turn to the Dark Gods out of desperation, ambition, or madness. These mortal servants often act as a vanguard for larger Chaos invasions, weakening planetary defenses from within. Genestealer cults, while primarily servants of the Tyranid hive mind, sometimes fall under Chaos influence. The psychic beacon they create to attract their Tyranid masters can also draw the attention of warp entities. This unholy fusion of Xenos and Chaos corruption presents a unique and terrifying threat to Imperial worlds. Renegade Knight houses, once noble defenders of humanity, now turn their immense war machines to Chaos's service. These fallen nobles pilot Chaos Knights, twisted parodies of their former glory. Their intimate connection to their war machines makes them particularly susceptible to the corrupting whispers of the Dark Gods. The Adeptus Sororitas, or Sisters of Battle, stand as paragons of faith against the tides of chaos. Their unshakable belief in the Emperor's divinity manifests in acts of miracle on the battlefield. This zealous order roots out heresy with flame and bolter, seeing the taint of chaos lurking behind every seditious thought. Within the Imperium, specialist organizations like the Grey Knights and Death Watch focus on combating specific chaos threats. The Grey Knights, a secret chapter of Psychic Space Marines, specialize in battling demonic incursions. The Death Watch, while primarily an anti-Xenos force, often finds itself facing chaos-corrupted alien threats. Blackstone fortresses, ancient weapons of immense power, play a crucial role in the war against chaos. These star forts, crafted by a long-dead race, possess the ability to seal warp rifts. Both Imperial and Chaos forces seek to control these devices, recognizing their strategic importance in the ongoing conflict. Radical Inquisitors sometimes employ Chaos weapons and knowledge against the Dark Gods, believing they can turn the enemy's strengths against them. This dangerous practice, known as Radical Xanthism, remains highly controversial within the Inquisition. While occasionally effective, it risks corrupting the very individuals tasked with defending humanity. As the conflict between Order and Chaos rages on, new factions and alliances continue to emerge. The awakening of the Necrons, the expansion of the Tau Empire, and the growing Tyranid threat add new dimensions to an already complex war. In this galaxy-spanning conflict, today's allies may become tomorrow's enemies as the corrupting influence of chaos touches all. The multifaceted nature of this conflict underscores the insidious threat posed by the Chaos Gods. No faction remains untouched by their influence, whether fighting against it or succumbing to its temptations. As we delve deeper into the specifics of each Chaos God, remember that their impact extends far beyond the battlefield, shaping the very destiny of the galaxy itself. In the vast tapestry of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, certain moments stand out as pinnacles of chaos influence, where the Dark God's power reached unprecedented heights. These events, scattered across millennia, showcase the true potential of chaos when unleashed upon the material realm. The Horus Heresy remains the most cataclysmic manifestation of chaos in Imperial history. Orchestrated by the ruinous powers, this galactic civil war saw half of the Emperor's sons turn against him. Horus, once the most favored Primarch, became the avatar of chaos undivided. His march on Terra brought the Imperium to its knees, culminating in a titanic duel with the Emperor aboard Horus's flagship. Though ultimately defeated, the heresy left the Emperor a shattered husk and forever changed the face of the galaxy. The birth of Slaanesh marked another pivotal moment in the ascendancy of chaos. As the Eldar Empire reached the zenith of its decadence, their collective psychic energy coalesced in the warp, giving violent birth to the Prince of Pleasure. This cataclysmic event tore a massive hole in reality, creating the Eye of Terror and nearly annihilating the Eldar race. Slaanesh's awakening dramatically shifted the balance of power among the Chaos Gods, introducing a new and insatiable hunger into their eternal conflict. The 13th Black Crusade, led by Abaddon the Despoiler, represented the culmination of millennia of planning by the forces of chaos. This massive campaign saw the fall of Cadia, a linchpin in the Imperium's defenses against chaos incursions from the Eye of Terror. The destruction of this fortress world triggered a chain reaction, culminating in the formation of the Great Rift, a galaxy-spanning tear in reality that has plunged much of the Imperium into darkness. The Psychic Awakening, a galaxy-wide surge in psychic activity, heralded a new era of chaos ascendancy. As more humans manifested psychic abilities, the barrier between real space and the warp grew ever thinner. This phenomenon led to an unprecedented increase in demonic possessions and incursions, providing the ruinous powers with new avenues to corrupt and conquer. Entire sectors fell to madness as latent psychers suddenly found themselves conduits for warp energy. Tzeentch's Impossible Labyrinth campaign showcased the Changer of Ways at the height of his power. This multi-pronged assault on reality itself saw Tzeentch's forces rewrite the laws of physics across dozens of worlds. Time flowed backwards, gravity reversed, and the very fabric of space twisted into impossible shapes. The Imperium found itself fighting an enemy that could alter the battlefield at will, leading to some of the most surreal and horrifying conflicts in recorded history. Khorne's reign of blood on the cardinal world of Sanctus Lux demonstrated the blood god's ability to corrupt even the most devout imperial worlds. What began as a small heretical uprising quickly spiraled into a planet-wide orgy of violence. As the blood flowed, reality itself began to bleed, opening rifts through which Khorne's demonic legions poured. The entire population, from lowly workers to high-ranking ecclesiarchy officials, succumbed to an uncontrollable bloodlust. By the time Imperial forces arrived to quell the uprising, Sanctus Lux had been transformed into a demon world, eternally devoted to Khorne's glory. Nurgle's plague of unbelief swept across an entire subsector, showcasing the plague god's insidious power. This supernatural disease attacked not just the body, but the very faith of its victims. As the plague spread, belief in the Emperor waned, replaced by a nihilistic acceptance of decay and ruin. Entire worlds fell without a single shot fired, their populations willingly embracing Nurgle's gifts. The campaign to contain this spiritual and physical corruption lasted decades, draining Imperial resources and morale. Slaaneish's Symphony of Pain, orchestrated on the pleasure world of Xenophon, represented the Prince of Excess at the height of his power. What began as a series of exclusive, decadent parties among the planet's elite quickly spiraled into a planet-wide descent into madness. The lines between pleasure and pain, reality and illusion, blurred beyond recognition. Those who survived the initial wave of hedonism found themselves transformed, their senses heightened to impossible degrees. The rescue mission sent to Xenophon returned irrevocably changed, spreading Slaaneish's corruption to other worlds. The War in the Rift, an ongoing conflict within the Great Rift itself, showcases all four Chaos Gods at the peak of their power. In this realm where reality and the warp bleed together, the ruinous powers wage war not just against the forces of order, but against each other in an ever-shifting alliance of convenience. Entire fleets are swallowed by impossible storms, while planets phase in and out of existence. This conflict spills over into real space, with tendrils of pure chaos reaching out to corrupt everything they touch. The Talidus War demonstrated the terrifying potential of chaos when united in purpose. All four Chaos Gods lent their power to this massive campaign against the Imperium, each seeking to corrupt or destroy the holy shrines of the Talidus system. The Word-Bearers, mortal servants of Chaos Undivided, led the charge, supported by specialized forces devoted to each individual god. This coordinated assault nearly overwhelmed Imperial defenses, showcasing the devastating potential of a truly united Chaos front. As the Dark Imperium struggles to reconnect with Terra, many worlds have fallen to Chaos rule. The Scourge Stars, a trio of disease-ridden hellscapes, stand as monuments to Nurgle's power. These corrupted realms serve as launching pads for the Death Guard's campaigns, spreading plagues across vast swaths of Imperial space. Their very existence serves as a grim reminder of what awaits should the Imperium falter in its eternal vigilance. The Chaos God's influence extends beyond military campaigns and corruption of worlds. The continued existence of the Dark Mechanicum, twisted mirror of the Adeptus Mechanicus, showcases their ability to pervert even humanity's most sacred institutions. These heretics pursue technological horrors that blend warp energy with machinery, creating abominations that defy the laws of physics and reason. As we stand on the brink of the 42nd millennium, the power of chaos waxes strong. The Great Rift has changed the very nature of the conflict, bringing the full might of the ruinous powers to bear on real space like never before. Yet even in this dark hour, pockets of resistance endure. The return of Primarch Robut Guilliman has renewed hope for some, while others turn to ever more desperate measures to combat the rising tide of chaos. These culminating events serve as stark reminders of the existential threat posed by the Chaos Gods. Their power, when fully unleashed, can reshape reality itself. As we delve deeper into the nature of each individual Chaos God, remember that their ultimate goal remains the same: the total domination of all existence, with the material realm subsumed into the roiling madness of the warp. The relentless assault of the Chaos Gods has left an indelible mark on the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Their influence, both subtle and overt, has reshaped the political, social, and physical landscape of the galaxy. Let's examine the far-reaching consequences of their actions. Perhaps the most visible result of Chaos influence is the Great Rift, a vast warp storm bisecting the galaxy. This astronomical phenomenon has effectively cut the Imperium in half, creating the Dark Imperium, a region largely cut off from Terra's light. Countless worlds have been lost to demonic incursions, while others struggle to survive in isolation. The very fabric of reality has been weakened, allowing warp energy to seep into real space at an unprecedented rate. The Imperium of Man, once the dominant power in the galaxy, now finds itself beset on all sides. Forced to commit vast resources to combating chaos, it has left other fronts vulnerable to Xenos incursions. The constant threat of corruption has led to increased paranoia and oppression within Imperial society. Inquisitorial purges have become more frequent and brutal, while the ecclesiarchy's grip on the populace has tightened. This atmosphere of fear and suspicion serves to further weaken the psychic fabric of humanity, ironically making it more susceptible to chaos influence. The Adeptus Astartes, humanity's greatest defenders, have been irrevocably altered by the threat of chaos. The introduction of Primaris Space Marines, while bolstering Imperial defenses, has created tension within many chapters. Some view these new warriors with suspicion, fearing they may be more susceptible to corruption. The loss of countless battle brothers to chaos has left deep psychological scars, leading some chapters to adopt increasingly extreme measures to ensure purity. Technologically, the ongoing war against chaos has pushed the Imperium in two opposing directions. Some Forge worlds have redoubled their efforts to recover lost knowledge, believing that technological superiority is key to victory. Others have retreated further into dogma and superstition, viewing innovation as a potential avenue for corruption. This schism within the Adeptus Mechanicus threatens to further fragment Imperial unity. The Eldar race continues to dwindle, their every action overshadowed by the looming threat of Slaanesh. Craftworld Eldar pursue ever more desperate strategies to avoid their doom, including dangerous alliances with the Inari, a faction that seeks to awaken Ennead, the Eldar god of death. The Dark Eldar of Comera push the boundaries of depravity in their efforts to stave off Slaanesh's grasp, inadvertently feeding the very god they seek to escape. Necron dynasties, awakening to a galaxy in turmoil, find their ancient anti-warp technologies in high demand. Some Necron lords have formed uneasy alliances with Imperial forces, seeing chaos as the greater threat to their dominion. Others pursue their own agendas, taking advantage of the galaxy's instability to expand their territories. The Necrons' efforts to close off the material universe from the warp have led to conflicts with both Chaos forces and those who rely on warp travel. The Tau Empire, expanding into the chaos of the Dark Imperium, has been forced to confront the reality of chaos for the first time. Their encounters with demonic forces have shaken the foundations of the greater good philosophy. Some Tau leaders now pursue anti-warp technologies with increased urgency, while others advocate for a more aggressive expansionist policy to secure their borders against this new threat. Orc empires have flourished in the wake of galactic instability. The constant warfare brought about by chaos incursions provides ample opportunities for orcs to fight, growing stronger with each battle. Some orc wargs have reached unprecedented sizes, posing a serious threat to both chaos and Imperial forces. The psychic resonance of these massive orc gatherings creates a buffer against chaos corruption, inadvertently protecting some regions of space. The Tyranid hive fleets, drawn to the psychic beacon of the Great Rift, have altered their invasion patterns. Some fleets now actively seek out chaos-corrupted worlds, adapting to consume warp-tainted biomass. This has led to the emergence of new, even more terrifying Tyranid strains that incorporate chaotic elements. The shadow in the warp cast by the Tyranid hive mind has created regions where chaos influence is diminished, leading to complex three-way conflicts between Tyranid, chaos, and Imperial forces. Warp travel, the lifeblood of interstellar civilization, has become increasingly perilous. The Astronomican's light flickers in many regions, making navigation treacherous. Some sectors have reverted to slower-than-light travel, becoming isolated pockets of civilization in a hostile galaxy. This disruption of interstellar commerce and communication has led to the rise of new power structures, as local governors and warlords assert their independence from distant terra. The emergence of new warp storms has changed the galactic map, swallowing some systems whole, while revealing others long lost to the Imperium. Ancient threats, sealed away for millennia, have been unleashed as containment facilities fail. This has led to a surge in explorator missions, as various factions race to claim lost technologies and worlds. Psykers, once persecuted and feared throughout the Imperium, now find themselves in high demand. The need for astropathic communication and warp navigation has forced many Imperial worlds to relax their anti-Psyker policies. This has led to an increase in unsanctioned Psyker activity, creating new vectors for chaos corruption. The Sisters of Silence and other anti-Psyker forces struggle to contain this new threat, even as they are called upon to combat demonic incursions. The constant exposure to warp energies has led to an increase in mutations among human populations. Some worlds have seen the emergence of new abhuman strains, forcing Imperial authorities to reassess their classification of acceptable human variants. This has created tension between puritanical factions who advocate for genetic purity and those who see these new strains as potentially valuable resources in the fight against chaos. Culturally, the pervasive influence of chaos has led to a resurgence of superstition and religious fervor across the Imperium. New cults and sects emerge daily, some genuinely seeking protection from chaos, others unwittingly serving the very powers they fear. The line between faith and heresy has become increasingly blurred, leading to conflicts within the ecclesiarchy itself. The Inquisition, tasked with combating the internal threat of chaos, has become increasingly fractured. Different ordos advocate for wildly different approaches, from extreme Puritan measures to radical use of chaos weaponry against itself. This lack of unity hampers efforts to present a cohesive defense against chaos corruption, even as it allows for a diversity of strategies. Beyond the borders of the Imperium, entire sectors have fallen to chaos rule. These chaos-controlled regions serve as staging grounds for further incursions, but also as object lessons in the true nature of chaos dominion. The suffering inflicted upon the populations of these worlds serves to strengthen the resolve of those still resisting chaos influence. As the galaxy reels from these changes, new heroes and villains emerge. Individuals of exceptional will or ability rise to prominence, their actions shaping the course of history. Some become champions of order, rallying the forces of the Imperium in its darkest hour. Others fall to chaos, becoming terrible instruments of the Dark God's will. The results of the Chaos God's actions ripple across time and space, forever altering the fate of countless worlds and species. As we delve deeper into the specifics of each Chaos God, remember that their influence extends far beyond the battlefield, touching every aspect of life in this grim, dark future. The struggle against chaos is not just a war of armies, but a constant battle for the very soul of the galaxy. The influence of the Chaos Gods extends far beyond their direct worshippers and confrontations, shaping events and characters across the Warhammer 40,000 universe in subtle yet profound ways. Their very existence alters the fabric of reality, influencing decisions and fates even when not directly involved. The Emperor's Great Crusade, while aimed at uniting humanity, was fundamentally shaped by his awareness of the chaos threat. His rush to conquer the galaxy and establish a human webway stemmed from a desperate need to starve the chaos gods of psychic energy. This haste led to compromises and alliances that would later prove disastrous, setting the stage for the Horus Heresy. Robut Guilliman's resurrection and subsequent actions as Lord Commander of the Imperium are deeply influenced by the renewed chaos threat. His Indomitus crusade, while ostensibly about reuniting the fragmented Imperium, is equally focused on stemming the tide of chaos incursions. Guilliman's tactical and strategic decisions are colored by his first-hand experience of chaos corruption during the Horus Heresy. The development of the Primaris Space Marines, a project 10,000 years in the making, was driven by the need to create warriors more resistant to chaos corruption. This technological leap has had far-reaching consequences for the Adeptus Astartes, altering chapter dynamics and sparking theological debates about the nature of the Emperor's work. Belisarius Caul's quest for innovation within the Adeptus Mechanicus is partly motivated by the need to combat chaos more effectively. His willingness to push the boundaries of acceptable technology has created rifts within the Mechanicus, influencing the direction of human scientific advancement in profound ways. The Inari movement among the Eldar, centered around the awakening god Aeneid, is a direct response to the existential threat posed by Slaanesh. This has led to unprecedented cooperation between different Eldar factions, altering millennia-old dynamics and creating new possibilities for the species' survival. The Tau Empire's expansion into the Imperium Nihilus has forced them to confront the reality of chaos, challenging their secular rationalist philosophy. This has led to internal debates about the nature of reality and the role of faith in Tau society, potentially altering the course of their civilization's development. Necron dynasties awakening to a chaos-threatened galaxy have been forced to reassess their priorities. Some, like Trazyn the Infinite, have taken a more active role in galactic affairs, forming uneasy alliances to combat the chaos threat. This shift in Necron behavior has significant implications for the balance of power in the galaxy. The Tyranid hive mind's encounter with chaos-corrupted biomass has led to the evolution of new, warp-influenced strains. This adaptation demonstrates the terrifying potential of the Tyranids to incorporate even the most inimical forces into their arsenal, raising fears about what might happen if a hive fleet were to fully harness chaos energy. Orc Wags have grown to unprecedented sizes in the wake of galactic instability caused by chaos incursions. War bosses like Gazkul Thraka have been able to unite vast hordes, inadvertently serving as a buffer against chaos expansion in some regions. This has forced other factions to reassess the Orc threat in light of the greater chaos menace. The Alpha Legion's long-term strategies, shrouded in mystery and contradiction, are fundamentally shaped by their complex relationship with chaos. Their actions, while often appearing to serve chaos, may be part of a grand plan to ultimately defeat it. This ambiguity has far-reaching consequences for Imperial security and the overall struggle against chaos. Inquisitor Eisenhorn's fall from purity to radicalism exemplifies the insidious nature of chaos corruption. His journey from zealous protector to demon-binding radical has influenced inquisitorial philosophy and practice, sparking debates about the use of chaos weapons against chaos itself. The Grey Knights chapter, created specifically to combat demonic incursions, has seen its role expand in the wake of increased chaos activity. Their influence on Imperial military strategy and their interactions with other Space Marine chapters have grown, altering the dynamics of the Adeptus Astartes as a whole. Abaddon the Despoiler's Black Crusades, while directly serving chaos, have had far-reaching effects on Imperial military doctrine and resource allocation. The need to maintain a strong defense against these periodic assaults has influenced everything from fleet deployments to planetary governance across the Imperium. The Dark Mechanicum's existence serves as a constant reminder of the potential for corruption within the Adeptus Mechanicus. This has led to increased scrutiny and conservatism in many Forge worlds, potentially stifling innovation at a time when the Imperium desperately needs technological advancement. The Sisters of Battle have seen their influence grow as faith becomes an increasingly vital weapon against chaos corruption. Their presence on battlefields and in Imperial governance has increased, altering the balance of power between different Imperial institutions. Planetary governors and sector lords, faced with the constant threat of chaos corruption, have become increasingly paranoid and authoritarian. This has led to harsher living conditions for Imperial citizens, ironically creating environments of desperation and resentment that chaos cults can exploit. The Adeptus Arbites have seen their role expand beyond mere law enforcement to active counter-chaos operations. This militarization of civilian police forces has profound implications for Imperial society and governance. Rogue traders, operating on the fringes of Imperial space, have become unwitting vectors for chaos influence as they explore regions cut off by warp storms. Their discoveries and trade goods can introduce subtle corruption to new worlds, influencing events far from the direct reach of the Chaos Gods. The Officio Assassinorum has been forced to develop new techniques and create new temple specializations to deal with chaos-enhanced targets. This evolution in the art of assassination has implications for imperial politics and the balance of power within the Imperium. Even Xenos races traditionally untouched by chaos, such as the Hrud or the Zotes, have seen their societies and migration patterns altered by the growing chaos presence in the galaxy. This demonstrates the truly universal impact of the Chaos God's influence. The Chaos God's impact reverberates through every aspect of life in the 41st millennium. From the highest echelons of imperial power to the lowliest underhive ganger, from ancient Xenos races to newly evolved life forms, none are untouched by their influence. As we delve deeper into the nature of each Chaos God, remember that their power lies not just in direct corruption, but in the myriad ways their existence shapes the decisions and destinies of all who inhabit this grim, dark galaxy. The Chaos Gods in Warhammer 40,000 serve as powerful symbols, embodying fundamental aspects of existence and reflecting the darkest parts of sentient nature. Their presence in the lore explores deep themes that resonate throughout the entire universe. At their core, the Chaos Gods represent the duality of emotion and its potential for both creation and destruction. Khorne, while embodying rage and bloodshed, also symbolizes honor and martial pride. This duality highlights the thin line between righteous fury and mindless violence, a theme often explored in the conflicts of the 41st millennium. Tzench, the Changer of Ways, embodies both hope and despair. His endless schemes represent the human desire for progress and change, but also the potential for those ambitions to lead to ruin. This god symbolizes the double-edged nature of knowledge and the dangers of unchecked ambition, reflecting the Imperium's own struggle between stagnation and potentially destructive progress. Or Nurgle, in his role as the Lord of Decay, paradoxically represents both death and rebirth. His plagues bring destruction, but also new life in the form of diseases and fungi. This cycle mirrors the broader theme of entropy in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where civilization constantly teeters on the brink of collapse, only to be reborn in new, often twisted forms. Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, symbolizes both the heights of artistic achievement and the depths of depraved excess. This god embodies the theme of corrupted nobility, reflecting how the pursuit of perfection can lead to utter ruination. The fall of the Eldar Empire serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked hedonism and the cyclical nature of civilization. Collectively, the Chaos Gods represent the concept of balance in the universe. Their eternal struggle in the Great Game mirrors the conflicts in the material realm, suggesting that opposition and conflict are fundamental aspects of existence. This theme of necessary opposition is reflected in the Imperium's constant state of war, seen as essential for humanity's survival. The corruption spread by the Chaos Gods serves as a metaphor for the inherent potential for evil within all sentient beings. This theme explores the idea that the greatest threats often come from within, rather than from external forces. The constant vigilance required against chaos corruption reflects the psychological struggle against one's own darker impulses. The physical manifestations of chaos, such as mutation and the twisting of reality, symbolize the malleable nature of existence. This challenges the concept of absolute truth, a theme that runs through many aspects of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, from the dogma of the Imperial cult to the fluid nature of Orc reality. The relationship between the Chaos Gods and their followers explores themes of free will and predestination. While mortals make the choice to serve chaos, they often find themselves as mere pawns in the gods' inscrutable plans. This reflects broader questions about agency in a universe governed by incomprehensible cosmic forces. The Chaos God's domain in the Warp serves as a dark reflection of the material universe, embodying the Jungian concept of the collective unconscious. The Warp as a realm shaped by psychic energy explores themes of reality as a construct of consciousness, challenging materialist views of existence. The concept of demon weapons and possession highlights themes of corrupted power and the price of ambition. These elements serve as cautionary tales about the dangers of seeking power without regard for consequences, a recurring motif in many Warhammer 40,000 stories. The existence of Chaos Undivided explores themes of unity and diversity, ironically reflected in the fractious nature of the Imperium. It suggests that even diametrically opposed forces can find common ground in the face of a greater threat or opportunity. The influence of chaos on time and causality, particularly through Tzeentch's machinations, explores themes of determinism and the nature of fate. This connects to broader questions about free will in a universe where gods can perceive and influence past, present, and future simultaneously. The constant threat of chaos corruption serves as a metaphor for the corrupting influence of power, a theme central to many political narratives within the Imperium. The measures taken to prevent chaos influence often lead to oppression and stagnation, exploring the idea that the cure can be as bad as the disease. The visual symbolism associated with each chaos god, Khorne's brass and blood, Tzeentch's shifting colors, Nurgle's rotting flesh, and Slaanesh's hypnotic beauty, serves to represent fundamental aspects of existence: war, change, decay, and desire. These primal forces are shown to be both essential and potentially destructive. The concept of worshipping the chaos gods as a means of gaining power explores themes of faith, sacrifice, and the nature of divinity. It raises questions about the relationship between gods and mortals, reflecting the complex theology of the imperial cult. The Chaos Gods' origins as manifestations of mortal emotion explore themes of creation and responsibility. It suggests that sentient beings are ultimately responsible for the horrors they face, creating their own monsters through their thoughts and actions. The eternal nature of the Chaos Gods, contrasted with the rise and fall of mortal civilizations, explores themes of permanence and transience. It reflects on the lasting impact of emotions and ideas, outliving their originators to shape the future in unforeseen ways. The concept of chaos as a corrupting force that can taint machinery and technology explores themes of the relationship between the spiritual and the material. It challenges the Adeptus Mechanicus's view of technology as pure and incorruptible, reflecting broader themes about the interconnectedness of all aspects of existence. Ultimately, the Chaos Gods serve as a dark mirror to civilization itself. They represent both its greatest achievements and its worst impulses, embodying the potential for creation and destruction inherent in all sentient life. Their existence poses fundamental questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and morality that lie at the heart of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. As we delve deeper into each individual Chaos God, these themes and symbols will provide a rich tapestry for understanding not just the nature of chaos, but the fundamental questions that drive the narrative of this grim, dark future. The Chaos Gods are not merely antagonists, but complex symbols that challenge our understanding of existence itself. The Chaos Gods of Warhammer 40,000 present a fascinating paradox within the lore. They are simultaneously the greatest threat to existence and a fundamental part of it. This duality creates a rich narrative tapestry that continually challenges our perceptions of good and evil. One could argue that the Chaos Gods are not inherently evil, but rather forces of nature given sentience. Their actions, horrific as they may be, stem from their very essence. Khorne doesn't spill blood out of malice, but because it's the core of his being. This perspective raises intriguing questions about morality in a universe where even gods are slaves to their nature. The corruption of the Primarchs serves as a poignant reminder of the insidious nature of chaos. Even these demigod-like beings, created by the Emperor himself, fell prey to the whispers of the ruinous powers. This suggests that no one, no matter how strong or pure, is truly beyond the reach of chaos. It's a chilling thought that adds a layer of psychological horror to the setting. The relationship between the Chaos Gods and their followers is particularly intriguing. While they offer power and a form of immortality, the price is incredibly high. Yet, countless individuals willingly make this bargain. This speaks to the desperation and ambition present in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where the alternative to chaos often seems just as grim. The concept of chaos undivided presents an interesting counterpoint to the normally fractious nature of chaos. It suggests that even these embodiments of discord can unite under certain circumstances. This raises questions about the true nature of chaos and whether its disunity is a fundamental aspect or merely a common state. The influence of chaos on the Warhammer 40,000 setting cannot be overstated. Without the ruinous powers, the Imperium of man might never have fallen into its current state of technological and cultural stagnation. The constant threat of corruption drives much of the Imperium's oppressive policies. In a way, chaos has shaped the Imperium as much as the Emperor has. The existence of the Chaos Gods adds a layer of cosmic horror to the setting. The idea that human emotions and thoughts can coalesce into godlike entities in another dimension is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It suggests a universe far more complex and interconnected than we can comprehend. The visual and thematic design of each Chaos God is a testament to the creativity of Warhammer 40,000's creators. Each god is distinct, with a clear portfolio, yet they all interconnect in logical ways. This design philosophy extends to their mortal and demonic followers, creating a rich tapestry of corrupted life that's horrifying yet captivating. One of the most compelling aspects of the Chaos Gods is how they reflect the darkest parts of human nature. They serve as a mirror to our own potential for destruction and excess. This makes them more than just external antagonists. They're a reflection of the internal struggles every individual faces. The way different factions in the Warhammer 40,000 universe deal with the threat of chaos showcases the diversity of the setting. From the Imperium's zero-tolerance policy to the Eldar's strict path system, each race's approach to chaos tells us something about their culture and values. The concept of worshipping the Chaos Gods as a means of survival in a hostile universe is particularly intriguing. It raises questions about the nature of faith and the lengths people will go to in desperate situations. This aspect of chaos worship adds depth to what could otherwise be seen as simple villainy. The role of the Chaos Gods in driving technological and social evolution, albeit in a twisted way, is often overlooked. The arms race against chaos has led to developments like the primary Space Marines. In this light, could the ruinous powers be seen as a necessary evil, pushing humanity to evolve and adapt? The eternal nature of the struggle against chaos adds a sense of futility to the setting that's both frustrating and compelling. The idea that this conflict can never truly be won, only endlessly fought, encapsulates the grim darkness of the far future. The Chaos God's ability to offer a form of immortality through demonhood presents an interesting philosophical quandary. Is an eternity of servitude to a Chaos God preferable to the oblivion of death? This question underpins many character motivations in chaos-related stories. The concept of time working differently in the warp adds another layer of complexity to the Chaos Gods. The idea that past, present, and future are meaningless to these entities makes their plots and machinations all the more inscrutable and terrifying. Personally, I find the Chaos Gods to be one of the most compelling aspects of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. They elevate the setting from a simple science fiction war story to a complex tapestry of metaphysical horror. Their presence forces every faction, and by extension every character, to confront fundamental questions about the nature of existence, morality, and the human condition. The Chaos Gods serve as a dark reflection of progress and civilization. They remind us that every advancement, every emotion, and every belief carries within it the seed of potential corruption. This theme resonates strongly in our own world, where technological and social progress often comes with unforeseen consequences. In conclusion, The Chaos Gods are more than just antagonists in the Warhammer 40,000 setting. They are a fundamental force that shapes the universe, driving the narrative and challenging our perceptions of good and evil. Their complexity and depth make them a subject of endless fascination, worthy of continued exploration and discussion.